Hey guys, I know it's been a bit, so sorry for being a bad host. Hopefully, y'all have a couple other YouTube channels to watch because I really appreciate y'all, but I do recognize that there's not that many of you, so I have to assume that you probably found me the way you did, and you're pretty well informed and well intentioned people that like to stay informed. So I'm really flattered that you came and that you're here and that you enjoy the information that I present, but I don't know what I'm rambling about anymore. Guys, this has been such an awesome trip. I will admit I've been campaigning for Tulsi a little bit less than I meant to because quite frankly this road trip was also a personal growth journey, but wow. In the first phase, I got hit in the chest so hard with so much personal growth and found some lovely, excellent human beings that I now consider a part of my family already. And also, not to get all wooey, but my visionary muscle, and if that's something that makes you click out, well, you're probably not on the right channel anyway, but I have been seeing things. I've been seeing the future and sort of heading off concerns before they become a problem for Tulsi 2020 or for my personal life, both. But it's getting so vivid and specific that I can actually see, here are the options, here's the way they lay themselves out, and if you want success going this way, here's what you need to do, and if you want success going this way, here's what you need to do, and here's the logical process you need to bring forward with the person that you're engaging with in order to make that part work, or the people you're engaging with, or the America you're engaging with, right? Um, that's all I'm going to say about that. Aside from that, I have been passing out Admit One Tulsi tickets, flyers, you name it, and this second half of this trip is going to be a full month, nearly a full month. I'm a little behind schedule at this point in South Carolina campaigning for Tulsi with all of those dang flyers. And now that I have a super strong spiritual confidence, that is going to go amazingly. I can already see that we're winning and that if I do my best, not that I personally can make a difference, but a lot of it's about sort of faith and belief. And I know that by doing my best, I've earned the right to claim that future as my own. And guys, we're gonna win. Now, Tulsi just filed a lawsuit in the Southern District of New York for defamation against Hillary Clinton. For those who may not have been paying as close attention as I have, the Southern District of New York is a very important district in terms of processing human trafficking, kid herding crimes in 2017, 2018, and 2019. So I'm starting to wonder if Tulsi Gabbard just initiated what will eventually become Hellraiser goddamn Clinton's Al Capone's tax evasion. You know? How wonderfully beautiful would it be if our 46th president were the one to start the ball rolling that eventually brought down the Clinton dynasty? Delicious. Delicious. Now, at this point, I see that the main thing that they have to try to stop Tulsi from becoming president is telling people, well, you need the numbers, so you need to go with unity, so stick with Bernie. And I've been engaged in a lot of great conversations that tell me that we're not buying it. We're absolutely not buying it. See, Byrne talks about our need to transition Maduro. He says that Sisi's a brutal tyrant for stopping the genocide of Coptic Christians in Egypt. And he stood against Modi's attempts to ensure women and LGBT the rights to own property in Kashmir because he thought it would be more beneficial to make a statement that his Saudi investors would approve of. In my opinion, Bernie Sanders is unfortunately too good of a politician to make a good president. And it's too bad if you disagree with me, but the fact of the matter is, Tulsi appeals to Burners and Yanksters and Trumpers. A lot of Trumpers think Byrne's a crazy socialist. Yanksters won't vote for Byrne because he doesn't support UBI. Tulsi appeals to all of those crowds. So instead of coming at me with your electability and who can win the nomination, let's win 2020. I'm not convinced Byrne can do it. I think Yang might be able to do it, but I don't think Yang can beat Tulsi Gabbard because he's standing for that reunify the press nonsense, and she outdoes him on all his policies and has some better assertive aloha, quite frankly. Now, Byrne has made a very egregious apology to Joe Biden, saying, "I'm sorry I implied that he was corrupt, blah, 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 blah." And I'm looking at this thinking, you're willing to apologize for Joe because you made one statement that stepped on establishment toes, but your surrogates have been smearing Tulsi nonstop this entire campaign, and you don't really seem to care. And I've heard a few explanations for why that might be. There's multiple factions in the Bernie campaign that are all vying for control, and, if that's the truth, then sorry, but as the dude leading the Byrne campaign, if you can't even lead your own campaign, if you can't even come up with a distinct vision for where you want America to go, why do you think he's qualified to be commander-in-chief? He should be reining in the people that are saying things that are damaging to the progressive movement. And he should also be championing some of Tulsi's policies that are far more progressive, but that's a different issue. Fact of the matter is, Hillary Clinton called Bernie a Russian asset by name, and you don't see him having the stones to do much about it. Tulsi's the one suing him, and she's doing it in the Southern District of New York. And yet, earlier in this campaign, I saw articles saying that Tulsi Gabbard is coddling Joe Biden because she's looking for a VP seat and she just wants to hold his old man balls. That is a direct quote, pretty much. But might have gotten the words in the first half wrong, but I know dead right I got the second half right, and that's the really just incredibly, that is so offensive, it just hurts. And yet, who's the one that's actually coddling Joe Biden's old man balls while he apologizes for implying that he might be a little bit corrupt? Corruption-free Joe Biden, obviously. He's just a saint. And when you really look into this whole Ukraine thing, it's the Bidens that are the victims in all this, right? Let's be honest. I mean, all of this propaganda smear stuff has really done a lot to besmirch his good name. And they are implying that Hunter Biden was given a position purely out of nepotism just because he had no requisite skills and had never been to Ukraine. That's some really bad defamation right there, and I appreciate my candidate Bernie Sanders for talking about it. Nope. Sorry if I'm not trying to make fun of anybody here. I'm really upset that they're going after Tulsi because she called out Kamala Harris for being the school bully, and even went so far as to say that she wants to hold Joe Biden's old man balls, when realistically it looks like Bernie's in his purse. So, it's okay. People say, it's a bummer, Joe, it doesn't look like Tulsi's gaining all that many followers, even though she says she likes Bernie. Thing is, anybody who knows about Tulsi is already following her. Anybody who's paying close enough attention to see these Twitter spats, they're watching this whole thing with hawk-eyes. And every single time, they're seeing Byrne go with the establishment and Tulsi stick with the progressive movement, even though he's been burning her this whole time. And it's not about more followers. It's about the American people realizing again and again and again who's standing up for the people's candidates, the progressive movement, and whose "not me, us" slogan is not us. So, with that, I'd just like to say I'm really excited to come and meet a lot of y'all in South Carolina. I'm just absolutely electrified to see the results on the 3rd and the 11th. Because after New Hampshire, I don't have to deal with anybody telling me that we need to go Byrne over Tulsi, because Tulsi will have proven that she deserves a spot on that debate stage, so she'll get one, and that she can pull just as many votes as Byrne, but that Byrne can't pull all the votes that she can. More importantly, the people of Twitter and the people of America have taught me that Byrne probably can't win 2020 without Tulsi in his cabinet or as his VP. So, to me, that says that Tulsi is far more electable, because nobody's going to tell me that if she got the nomination, she couldn't win against that thumped orange man. She is the perfect anti-Trump. I mean, with a slogan, "Make a Gabbard America," Trump's going to be pooping his pants. He's going to be scrambling to get 35% of the vote against Tulsi's YouTube channel alone. Now, I think the real danger, more than anything, in discussing the idea that Tulsi should be Bernie's VP, Tulsi should be setting up for 2024, 2028, whatever. Some people have given me some very bright visions of what that might look like in the future. And if Byrne gets the nomination and picks Tulsi for his VP, I will probably end up voting for that ticket begrudgingly. And I really, really hope that those people that have a vision for a bright future are correct. But here's why it's begrudging. I have my doubts. What I see happening is Byrne is going to end up warmongering, just like we all know he probably might. The Russia thing, the Egypt thing, the Venezuela thing, the India thing. I'm probably forgetting a few more, but he buys into the rhetoric. He plays the establishment game when it comes to the things that enable and perpetuate warmongering. And his universal Medicare for All plan doesn't have any checks and balances in it. It shifts the power from the private sector to one government entity. And you still have the issue of one entity where all the lobbyists can go and throw their money at, that is deciding what is and isn't covered, what is and isn't considered good medicine. That little plus that Tulsi has in her single payer plus plan is really important. I really encourage you to look into it, because it is going to ensure that if there's some miracle treatment that can cure your cancer like that, and the government decides not to sponsor it because they like pushing pills and chemo at us, because repeated treatments make a lot more money for the people that lobby our government, we can go seek alternative treatment if there's a company out there that is able to provide it at a price that people are willing to pay, that they are able to make a profit, stay profitable as a company, while also still competing with the fact that everyone already has their insurance and medical needs met, and they can get that stuff for free. So at this point, we're talking about you really need a treatment that works if you want to be competitive in that market. And you might say something along the lines of, well, it's not fair that some people can go get that treatment, but other people are going to be stuck with that treatment. But let's really look at the alternative. The alternative is if you only have that treatment, and the people over here need to go all the way to Mexico to get it for a lot more money. You're limiting who actually has access. More importantly, you give the go-ahead for governmental and official agencies to say, well, we have no data to show whether this alternative treatment that they're doing in Mexico actually works. It's not approved by the FDA. And it doesn't look like all that many Americans are interested in it, because look at how many more people are doing chemo. If you can see that there's this treatment over here that we can do for a relatively very cheap price, that people are interested in, that people are flocking to, the government is forced to make a decision. They can either save money by going with a treatment that they now see works, that people want, cover it, and get it access to everybody, which will be a very popular decision that might get them reelected, or they can continue to spend a lot more money on pills and repetitive treatments and watch as more and more people get upset about it. But it becomes much easier to lobby your government if you can say, my friends Jim, Jack, Karen, and Cheryl all got cured from this thing, and you're still not willing to provide it to us. In the bigger scheme of things, I think that Tulsi Gabbard has clearly established herself as the person who's going to try to end war. And if she gets saddled in a Byrne cabinet and is forced to go along with, just like Colin Powell was, very anti the Iraq War, and they just talked around him, didn't include him in meetings, and then made him say a few things that sort of discredited him as a future politician for daring to step out of line. We know their playbooks at this point. For people who have been studying history and politics, we're very aware of what they do to try to mess with us. And to me, an anti-war candidate like Tulsi is a big threat to them in 2024. She can run in New Hampshire in whichever party she needs to, to take us back from the jaws of total destruction. She's the only one talking about ending the Fed. She's the only one talking about ending war. Seriously. Byrne in 2017 was talking about how Palestinians don't deserve equal rights in a one-state solution because that would be the end of Israel as we know it. Which, yes, it would, Bernie. That would be the end of Israel as a brutal, apartheid, oppressive regime state. And I think that's probably a good thing. Would it be the end of all Israelis? Would it destroy the ability for Israel to exist and flourish and regain green spaces out of the desert and provide water for their neighbors in Jordan? No. The fact of the matter is they have access to water. That's a very powerful bargaining chip. And if they play nice with their neighbors, while they also have the technology to destroy literally anyone in that area that they want, why would their neighbors escalate because they're giving Palestinians rights? The issue is right now you have a Palestine that has no resources, no land, no opportunity for anybody to do anything. And when someone comes along and says, hey, I'll give you $3,000 to go or I'll give your family $3,000 to go blow yourself up, somebody's going to be a taker on that because you were going to die anyway. There's no better option. And, a two-state solution would be apartheid. A one-state solution where Palestinians don't deserve equal rights is apartheid. So Byrne has said in 2017 that he supports Israeli apartheid. He has never really in his entire illustrious 20-plus year career gone against any Israeli interests as far as I've found. And he even voted for a bombing in Gaza and co-sponsored the bill that turned Libya from a pretty successful country to a country that has literal slave auctions being filmed on YouTube. He's just been on the wrong side of a lot of these warmongering regime change issues. And I could totally see a situation wherein Tulsi gets saddled with that record, and look at what happened to Joe Biden. We, the people, all recognize or have attributed the disappointment of Obama to Joe Biden. And that is why, even if you might consider him I doubt you're here if you consider him an electable candidate, but even if someone might consider him an electable candidate, he can't win. So there's no point in voting for him. Much the same way, if Tulsi were in a regime for 4 to 8 years that probably even maybe escalated our warmongering efforts to try to make up for the profits they've lost in the last few, it would end her. She would get buried under that smear mountain that they've been trying to pin on her, because suddenly everything they've said about her being a secret war hawk is true. If Byrne offers her VP position or Homeland head of Hillary's old position to try to do a better job, I think she'd be better off saying, you know what? If you wanted to end war, you should end war. You don't need me to do that. And she should focus on becoming that New Hampshire senator in 2022 in whatever party she needs to, so that she can save the world and not just be there while we destroy it. So, with that, thanks for gabbing with me, my dudes. Don't let them skeptical Skeksis steal your essence. And I really look forward to winning this one. Please like, share, subscribe. Say hi to me on Twitter, because that's probably where you found me. And mahalo. I'll catch you guys at the end of this primary season when this channel can turn into something other than just a political channel. I'm so excited to start giving y'all some really awesome, informative lectures and content on more broad topics. But for now, let's win with Tulsi, guys. She's the only one who can, so to me, I think it's going to be easy for America to decide once the results from New Hampshire come in, and I'm going to do my best to make sure the results from South Carolina might be even more wowing, so that by the time we get to Super Tuesday, everyone who was looking at Tulsi and Byrne but saying, I gotta go Byrne because he's got a better chance, are really starting to reconsider. And the Yang Gang has already jumped ship because there's a better UBI gal in the race that also stands up for free speech and free Assange. So I already see what's happening. The only question is the DNC going to be able to pull enough strings to prevent that and give us 4 more years instead? Personally, I think that would be a huge waste. I think that there are a lot of people in this country that are in a difficult, stressful, scared situation because of the political and media landscape around our current orange presidency. But I also see that those are the choices. Tulsi 2020 or Tulsi 2024, because, you know, as someone who's been following this campaign for coming up on a year now, Tulsi has made the decision I would make every single time. The 2 times she hasn't, it was because I wasn't being smart. I was shooting from the hip, as it were, thinking from, gut knee-jerk responses and not from how to actually change the world, how to have a agreeable position that everyone can come together on and build bridges with. And, when you've got a candidate that does what you would do every single time and refuses full stop to lie to the American people ever, like, if you'd like to have a fun game, try to play Spot the Tulsi lie. So far, in this entire candidacy, I haven't found a single time that she's lied to the American people. And you might be able to point to some things that you believe are lies, but if you do, I encourage you to watch one of my other videos that debunks some of 30 plus of Tulsi's most baseless smears. And then if you still believe that she's lied to us, come talk to me, because most likely there's some historical context that you might be missing. Not trying to call out your lack of information. I'm sure you're a very informed person if you've made it to this channel and made it this far through this video. But, seriously, let's have a talk, because I would love, from your end, I would love to find the Tulsi lie. I've been trying to play this game for a while now, and it's kind of driving me nuts that there's a politician running for president that hasn't lied once. That's insane. I mean, the sheer amount of knowledge you need to be able to do that, let alone the strength of character. I don't think I could do that. At some point or other, I would misspeak purely because I don't know enough about the issues. Or would have to change my position on something because I would realize that I hadn't thought about the other side completely as, compassionately as I could have. And Tulsi's just got it all nailed down. She figured out her positions before running, and she knows the historical context. And if there's something she doesn't know, she says, I'm going to get right back to you on that. And within a few days, she's got the exact perfect statement you'd want her to have every single time. Really, I am Tulsi. It's as if I'm running for president, actually. Fun fact, I just met this guy David the other day, who is literally me. Another version of my soul, born in a different context, but with the same life, different details to it. But I don't know if I'm explaining this in a way that makes sense, but I'm now 100% convinced that there's more than one of this floating around in a bunch of different bodies, and it's sort of like if you meet them, you're sort of given a window into another path you could have taken in your life, so you can feel content in the one that you chose because you're being your best self. But you also recognize, oh, that's what it would look like if I was being my best other self, And so now I'm really starting to wonder if Tulsi makes the decision I make because she's me. Another one of those soul seeds out there, It's just, I think I might be right because, I'm getting those soulful universal tears again, and those are usually a pretty strong signal, so. Alright, guys. Let's win this one, because you know what? We're gonna. And, if not, Tulsi has made tens, perhaps hundreds of thousands of little Tulsi gabbers that are ready to raise hell in 2024, 2028. We don't go back asleep. You cannot put this genie back in the bottle. So, have faith. If for whatever reason 2020 goes tits up and we end up with probably 4 more years, realistically, I don't see another maybe Bernie, but honestly, I think Bernie's going to have to struggle to probably end up not winning. Realistically, not rooting for the orange man, but straight up, I'm just being pragmatic here, looking at the numbers, looking at the rhetoric that's being tossed around. I don't think Byrne can win without Tulsi Gabbard. So, I would rather not have to wait 4 more years to save the world. Again, don't let them skeptical Skeksis steal your essence, my dudes. I love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.